everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are on episode 75, part 4 of the R's. But before we get started, as always, please like this video if you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon if you want any notification of future content.
And hit the link below to follow us on all of our social media.
Yeah.
So we got 10 games.
Do we? I didn't count.
And I guess
10?
we'll start off by going the path less resistance, or the path of least resistance.
I count 11, but okay.
That's the same game.
I know, but I still count. That's 12 if you count 2.
So we have 11 games.
I thought I was like, that looks like
boxes.
a lot more than 10 boxes, but okay. Anyway.
So we'll go with the path less of least resistance.
Yeah, sure.
Do resistance.
Your puns are getting pretty, yeah, okay.
And people putting lids on boxes are getting worse too.
Oh my gosh. You and your thing.
Hey, it's a thing.
Okay, so we
You're
actually
not the
have, for whatever reason, we have 3 copies of this. We have 2 copies of this size box, 2 different covers, 2 different expansions in the box, yes. And then we have this copy. This copy has the same expansion as our personal copy, but we have this size. Never mind. Anyway, resistance. These both sit in the travel collection. Okay, so the way resistance plays, and they are basically the same thing. The only difference is a little bit of artwork and the expansion that's in them, and basically the boards. For this one board covers all player counts, and you have these tokens. Whereas this one, you have different boards for depending on your player count, and you have, yikes, and you have these tokens.
Well, you have,
well, you have lots of tokens. Yes, you have lots of tokens, but I mean, you have for the boards. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to put this one away because that is literally the only real difference other than the expansion, which we don't go over expansions. So. The way resistance plays. This is a social deduction game. At the start of the game, you pull out, depending on player count, so many of your spies, and then you fill in the number up to the player count with resistance members.
Yep.
You shuffle all these up and you secretly hand them out. As with this type of game, you look at who you are, you keep that a secret. All of the spies identify themselves to each other by opening their eyes at a specific time.
Like the werewolf thing,
yeah.
The werewolves, everybody close their eyes, werewolves look.
Yeah,
wake up.
Same concept. All the spies know who each other is. But the resistance members don't know who they are. The key with this one is you have to get through 5 successful missions, or 5 missions, without losing 3. So you have to have at least a minimum of 3 successful missions in order to win the game. For the resistance to win the game. For the spies to win the game, they only have to fail 3 missions. When you start a mission, whoever the team leader is at that point in time chooses a certain number of people to go on the mission. Like, for instance...
It's right there.
Yep. This one, yeah, right, it's the big number in the middle. That's right. That's what I couldn't figure out. This is, this is the 7 player. So on the first mission, you have to have 2 people go on it. On the second mission, it's 3, then 3, then 4, then 4. This one, for the 4th mission, it requires 2 fails. I'll come back to that. Same thing here, different numbers for an 8-player game. So you have a different number of people going. So what happens, resistance members, well, first of all, you choose who's going. Everybody at the table can approve or reject the mission group. It's a majority wins on this vote. If majority says approve, then that group goes on the mission. If the majority reject, the team leader passes and the new people are chosen by the new leader. We don't have it reject very often. Sometimes, but not often. Once you get through that, then you send out your people. Everybody has success and fail cards.
Of those who go, yeah.
Of everybody going on the mission, yeah. Everybody has success and fail cards. If you are a resistance member, you have no choice but to choose success. You have to. You want the mission to succeed. That's the whole point of your mission. If you are a spy, though, you have a choice. Nobody knows what you voted because everybody votes secretly, and then all of the extra cards are shuffled secretly too, so nobody knows who didn't make it succeed. If one fail shows up, then you have to put down one of these tokens on the mission. Now the key is everybody knows one person of those two that went is now a spy.
Well, there was at least one.
There was at least one spy in that group.
The other one was trying to play it cool.
You could have. It gets a little harder as you get further down. Well, this one's not too bad because this is 5 players. You never have more than 3 people going. But you get to some of these bigger ones that have 5 people going, and all it takes is one spy.
Yeah, except for the ones that says it needs 2 fails.
Except for this one.
Both spies are going to
spies, in this case,
if they want to win
and this one has 3 spies on it. Out of 9 players, 3 players are spies.
8 players have 3 spies too.
So
7.
It gets a little tricky figuring out who your spies are. And the spies have to be they have to kind of work in tandem without really working in tandem, without knowing they're working in tandem, in order to fail the right missions, because you don't want 2 people on a mission to fail it.
Yeah.
Unless you have to have 2 fails, because then everybody's going to know 2 of the 3 of you are spies.
Right.
So yeah,
you're kind of trying to figure out who the spies are.
Yes.
So that you
don't choose
send
them
on the missions or vote the mission down if one of the spies is actually the commander. He's going to bring the other spies.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're going, no.
So yeah,
I tried that in the last game we played, and nobody voted no but me, because I knew
the spy
Justin
or
and, Eric were the spies.
No, it was Journey and
Justin.
Journey and Justin.
That's what.
Journey and Justin were the spies the last time.
Anyway, I knew that they were the spies, and they both went on the same mission. And, and I tried to turn it down, and
we still won. The resistance still won, so it's okay.
You're lucky.
That was actually, I think, the first time the resistance has won when I've played. The spies always win. It's just so easy for one spy to get chosen. Mm-hmm. And I'm terrible at these kind of games anyway, so I never know who the spies are. But overall, it seems to be a very popular game.
Yep.
I actually taught this to a group of kids at one of our meetups, one of our events, and they loved it. The kid was looking it up on to buy it before the game was over. Yeah. So we're going to hold on to it. We're going to hold on to this copy, though. This copy, I'm pretty sure, is going to leave the collection. I'm not 100% sure yet, because this one will fit in. Actually, no, I think this one's too thick to fit into the card cases. So, yeah, I was probably going to keep this one and let this one go. Mostly because we already have the expansion that's in this one. It's in our copy, and this is a different expansion. So, anyway, that is the Resistance. 1 staying, 1 going. Overall, I feel like it's a classic social deduction. Mm-hmm. It's been around for a long time. Yeah. Yeah, it's very simple.
Nothing to it.
No.
Easy to teach.
Yes, very much. Okay, that's it. Resistance.
Next we have Roadhog. This was surprising when you found this game, I'd never heard of it.
No, I hadn't either.
And then within the last month, we have seen it at 2 different game nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I found it at Goodwill.
Because I seen it when we had the game night at the donut shop, and then there was another one we just went to.
At Saltier's?
No, not Saltier's. No. It was another one that they had it out too, or maybe I seen somebody playing it on Facebook.
Facebook, maybe. Groups. Maybe that's funny. Yeah, because this is such a obscure one. I feel. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so the way this one plays. You have this road set out. I love the fact they're rubber on the back, so they stay in place. It's lovely. So you have this road that you are laying out, however,
and you have a toll
at the beginning of the game.
To be in the middle.
Yes. Oh, yes. There's a toll booth that is in the middle somewhere. We'll just pretend that's the middle. So at the start of the game, everybody is taking turns putting out. Well, no. Most of the cards.
You're wanting to move your car.
Yeah. Well, yes. No, what I'm saying is at the very start of the game, everybody's taking turns putting these out.
Yeah, most of the
cards. And
you
have to have so many.
On the side because of the cards.
Yes. So you have to have. That guy had an accident already. So you've got these. Everything's in wherever. There's lots of cars. picture a highway at rush hour. That's how many cars are on here.
Yeah. Yeah, cars upside down.
Yes. No, don't do that. That's a bad omen. Okay, so everybody has their little car, and there are 2 dice involved. And then there are cards. On your turn, you're drawing up cards. You have cards in your hand, and I think at the beginning of your turn you draw back up, if I remember correctly. But different types of cards. You've got traffic cards, you've got aggression cards, and I think there's one other type in here. Isn't there? Yeah, there we go. The driver cards, which are blue. I think that's it. Nope, there's a yellow card, a reaction card. Yep. So you've got 4 different types of cards, and each card does something slightly different. For instance, the reaction cards, this will stop anybody from playing a card on you. If they play a card that affects you, you can stop it immediately if you have a reaction card in your hand. The driver, this particular card says the player gains 1 diagonal move. Typically, you can't move diagonally. Right. But if you have that card, I've got this turned around. Oh, well, it's fine. You can literally move. Well, this would be an okay move anyway. So let's go up to here. You can move diagonally where normally you could not if you played this card. And you don't have to play a card. Playing a card is optional. Yes. You get typically what you're going to do is roll a dice at the start of your turn. This die does different things. You can move 2 white cars out of your way. You can move a car sideways. You can just different things on the dice, and this tells you how far you can move. So you're rolling the dice. You're doing what the dice say. You have to do that. Card play is optional. Let's see this one. Aggression. Speed trap. Do you smell bacon? Oh, that's so bad. Opponent randomly discards 1 card. Move opponent back 1 space.
So
these are your take that cards. Yeah. Yes, these are your take that cards, which you can counteract by playing the yellow card.
Yeah.
And then the green cards, trafficonesis, and all of them are different. It's all in your mind. Move 1 traffic car 1 space in any direction. And the traffic cars are the little white guys. So the goal is to get from point A to point B, or in this case, vice versa, since I've got the toll road going this way, to get from point A to point B first. Mm-hmm. That's the whole goal, by moving your car throughout all the lanes, back and forth in the traffic, getting other cars out of your way.
And pushing other cars into other people's ways.
Yes, and pushing cars into other people's way. So it's a very basic game.
Yep.
But there's some thought involved in it. There is some strategy involved in it. I think it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it is actually fun.
For as small as it is.
You brought it home.
Right? So this one does sit in the travel collection now.
Yeah, it used to sit over here.
It used to sit over here for a little bit.
It just never got played.
Yeah. And we needed the space, so it got moved. But that is Roadhog, Rule the Road. We're going to hold on to this in the travel collection. I saw you look. It's on correctly. Jiminy Christmas. You see what I put up with. Anyway, it's going to stick around. Next.
We have another road one. This
is
Road Rally USA. This is a road race.
Yes,
basically.
an old Mayfair game. Okay, so this one, similar to that one where you have to set up your track, you have a track to set up. And the track is all designed with these. Now, I get the fact you can make it your own path if you wish to, and that's probably why they did this. Mm-hmm. They do have suggested race setups in here, and that's how we've always played it, is with the suggested race setup. And I'm not going to set up the whole board, that is for sure. But the idea is you're going to end up with a track that looks, that goes there, and we'll go, okay, there we go, that's fine. And then there, and you get the idea. There's a start point, there's an end point.
As long as it makes a circle.
There's actually, this is all of the starting points, and then this is your ending point. So they have the little victory point symbols on them. So everybody has a separate deck of cards, and everybody has a little bitty card that ironically looks very similar to the last game's little bitty cards.
Those are smaller.
These are a little bit smaller. So everybody has their little bitty car on here. There is no blocking anybody in this game. As you're moving, if multiple cars stack up in the same space, you kind of just stack them up so you know who was there first and who's in the lead. the idea with this one is that you have a whole deck of cards. Everybody has the exact same deck. There's no difference other than the picture on the back. And this is considered your gas tank. When this runs out, you're out of gas, unless you have hit a gas station or done something that allows you to shuffle your discard pile back into your deck and thus refill your gas tank. So, gas tank. So you have a number of cards in your hand, and all the cards are different colors. You have to play cards of one color in order to move. Now, greens are all lower numbers, then there's the yellows, and then there's the reds, and the yellows and reds are a little bit higher numbers, greens are low. However, if you play a green, and refresh my memory, if you play a green, I always have to look at it. You can, that's how you refill your hand. So if you play green, no matter how many greens you play, you get to refill your hand with 2 cards. Okay. If you play yellow, you draw 1 card when you're done, no matter how many cards you've played. If you play red, they let you move the furthest, but you don't get to draw any new cards into your hand. So if I play 3 reds, let's turn these right side up, then I could move 10 spaces, but
that's a lot.
If I'm out of cards,
I think you only start with 7.
I think you're right. Something like that. It's not, it's not very much. There are different points on the game, on the board. Like, for instance, there's gas stations where you can shuffle your discard pile back into your deck. Oh, what is that? That is the diner. The diner does something. Your card is actually really good. Yeah, telling you what everything does. Oh, that's the general store. Okay, the general store. You can play 1 to 5 cards in any color combination and then draw a card when you're done. There's a mechanic on here that lets you rearrange the top 5 cards of your deck. There are pit stops and that there are areas that once you pass over them, you get to collect the token. Or no, if you land directly on it, you get to collect the token, and that's worth points at the end of the game. There are shortcuts. There's a little mini expansion that has a shortcut in it. There's a lot going on this board to keep track of. One of the key things with this, though, is the checkpoints. There are 21 checkpoints, and everybody starts the game with 2 A's and 2 B's on the checkpoint pile. The A's are closer to the start of the race. The B's are closer to the end. Everybody has the opportunity of scoring 2 of their checkpoints. The other 2 never get played. But you never know who has what, because not all the checkpoints are used every game. So there are checkpoint tokens. That's what the diners are. That's where the checkpoint tokens go. That's why I couldn't find it. So on the diners, there are checkpoint tokens numbered 1 to 21. And as each one is passed by the first player, somebody, doesn't have to be you who passed it, you can decide to score it. And it scores based on who is passing it, where you are on the track. Right.
So if you're in last, you don't want to score.
You don't want to score because you're giving other people points. Right. Yep. So everybody scores 2. So in a 5-player game, you're scoring 10 of the 21 checkpoints. But that is a major way of getting victory points. So, I mean, overall,
it is good though that in this game, even if you finish first, doesn't mean you're winning.
That's true.
Because it all comes down to the points at the end of the game.
That is very true. Because you won the race,
but I lost.
You lost the game, yeah. Because I think Justin won. Yeah, he did. He had more points than everybody. Overall, it's a classic. Well, I feel like it's a classic. I feel like it's a forgotten classic.
It's an old game, so yeah, a lot of people have forgotten about them.
Yeah. But I remember playing this at Gen Con on the big,
they had a big one,
the giant one.
At Gen Con back in the day, there was when Mayfair was there, they always had a big one of this. They had a big one of Catan. Yeah, and a couple other ones though. But that was fun.
I think it's an interesting game. You don't have. I mean, it has the card play, kind of like Heat, predecessor, definitely, but you don't have those curves you have to be aware of. Right. You just have to be careful to stop at the gas stations because, man, you run out of gas, you're out of luck.
Reshuffle in your deck.
Yeah, so it's an interesting game. We did move this over to the travel collection quite some time ago. It is going to stay there. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was in our collection for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, this was early on in our collection. Anyway, Road Rally USA. All right.
So next, we will stay with the roads. This is River, Roads, and Rails. It's a kid's game.
It is.
But it is actually a lot of fun.
We actually were laughing pretty hard at this. At the same time, it was getting frustrating at points because we were blocking each other off without even meaning to. Because you got to play the tile. If you have it, you got to play it.
Get rid of the tiles that you started with.
Yep.
But you're drawing tiles if you can't play things. And...
Exactly. All right, so this one is made up of a bunch.
It looks like memory card tiles.
It does. It's a bunch of tiles. And all of these tiles are very, very basic artwork. I mean, this game originally came out in what, 69?
Something like that.
Something like that. It was in the 60s.
Yep.
This is not from the 60s. This copy is not from the 60s. Yeah, this one was more recent. But at the start of the game, I don't remember if one person lays down a tile or if there's one that starts. I think you start with one.
Or a few tiles out there already.
I think so.
I'll let you keep talking.
Okay. So anyway, you start off with a certain tile out. Like this one has all 3 items on it. On your turn, you have to lay down a tile that, and everybody has a number of tiles in front of you. You have a decent number of tiles, 15 or 20 if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong on that number.
What'd you say? How many?
15 to 20.
You get 10 tiles.
10. I was way off.
You're way off.
Like almost double. Okay, so you start the game with 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You have 10 tiles, and then you draw one, so you'll start the game with 11.
So I have my 10 tiles. My 10 tiles are all laid out in front of me like so. I draw my tile and add it to my stack. Now, I think the rules say you have to lay them out in front of you.
Yes.
I don't think you could play this game any other way because you have to be able to visualize and sort these. So on your turn, what you're doing is trying to match up the stuff on this tile. So I could not do this, for instance. I have to match one of the roads or the rivers or the rails. But in this case, I don't think I do.
Nope.
Because I don't have any doubles. Okay. Well, in which case, I would pass and draw a tile. So, oh my gosh, there's got to be something in here. These are all singles. Oh, here we go. So, for instance, say I went through a lot of turns to find a tile I could play. But during that time, everybody else is playing too.
So
more things would have come out. I would lay that down. Now, I'm not going to have anything to go off of that now.
Nope.
But you cannot, like, I cannot legally do this because the road doesn't match up. I would have to be able to match up something. Like, and it can't go off the, I can't do, well, yeah, that I couldn't do anyway because that doesn't match up.
The river didn't start there, and that one's upside down.
This one's upside down, so I couldn't do that one. This is what I was looking for. I can't do this because the tiles don't match up. That would make it really easy. Like I feel like there's one that matches. There we go. And that takes me into a straight river, which I have all sorts of stuff that could do. And now you just screwed me up again. See that? He did that to me a lot in the game.
That's the way the game goes. You're wanting to try and shut him down because, hey, I need that river to stop so I can play this tile.
Yep. So the game goes until one player is out of tiles or nobody can play. And then whoever has the fewest number of tiles left wins. It's pretty basic. I feel like it's got a definite Carcassonne feel, but worse because you can't match up field to field.
No.
You have to match up your rivers, your rails, and your train. Your rivers, rails, and roads, yes. I think it's a cute game. It takes a lot of real estate. Holy mackerel. It takes a lot of real estate on the table. But it was fun. I think we had a decent time with it for being a children's game anyway. We never really talked about this one. I think for now we're going to hold on to it. We'll see what happens when we get done with everything and we start going back through stuff to start narrowing down things, whether it survives then. But for now, we're going to hold on to it. That is Rivers, Roads, and Rails, the ever-changing matching game. See, it does have a matching. You said it looked like the memory match games. It's a matching game, just a different type. Anyway, going to stick around for now. All right.
Okay, sticking with the river thing.
Now we go from roads to rivers.
We have River Valley Glassworks. Tell them what you really think about the Kickstarter. Never mind.
I love the game. 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 I I was not impressed with the way the Kickstarter was run. We'll just leave it at that.
The way it was handled, yeah.
Yeah, the way it was run. I love the game. I love the quality. I love the production. I was not impressed with the way the Kickstarter was run. And we'll leave it at that, like I said. Okay, so River Valley Glassworks. The idea with this one is you are mining river glass out of the river. Simple as that. And trying to make sets. So my copy comes with this beautiful board. The retail copy did not come with this. My copy also has the acrylic tiles. I do have the deluxe tile. The river pieces now in the retail version, these are cardboard, but it goes this way. These get set out like so, just randomly, and then pieces of river glass get put onto each of the tiles based on the number of stones that are on, if you can see it, the number of stones that are on the tile. So we put out river glass of all different shapes and sizes. You start off with so much river glass already on the board. You start off with river glass. Ooh, that's a lot of one color. Out here, and then everybody starts off with 5 of their own in their pan. This is your board. Now, the idea with your board is you are collecting river glass, and you're trying to make rows of all different colors and columns of one color. Now, here's the trick. In a 5-player game, or even I think in a 4-player game, you use the ones I pulled out 3 of here. Yeah, you use the black color.
Black sparkly ones.
If you play a multiplayer, a higher player count game, and you use the black, you have 9 colors. There's only 7 spots. So there is potential for ending up with colors you don't want, or that you maybe you've run out of space to use. So the way this plays, what you're doing basically is you are choosing one of the pieces in your pan. And I'll do it this way so you can actually see them. One of the pieces in your pan, and now you're looking at shapes. On each of these tiles, there is a shape. Like this is a diamond. And this one is the...
home plate.
Yes, but no. It's a hexagon. Hexagon is the 5, right?
It's home plate.
Oh my goodness. Or there's the oval, or there's a diamond, or the pear shape, or the heart. So what you're doing is you're looking at the shapes you have available to you. So for example, I have a diamond. If I want to play this diamond, I would put it on the piece of the river that has a diamond, and then I would collect the pieces on either side, not the pieces on the one I just laid down. So the pieces I have here, I may never get into my possession again.
You're putting glass in the river to take glass out.
Yes. So I'm... True. So I'm putting a piece here. I'm taking these 2. And then what I would do is I would have to put these 2 into the same column, or the same row. No, column on my board. So these would have to go right here. And I've scored 3 points so far. Maybe I've scored 3 points. I know for sure I've scored 2 because that's how many I have on there. You keep doing this until you run out of glass. When you can only ever hold 5 on here. When you get down to 2 or you get down to 1, then you have the option of, instead of playing this last piece, you can look over here
take 4 out
in the river and take any 4 you wish and put them back into your pan. And now you have a whole new set of 5 to work with. You can wait till you're done. You can never have more than 5 here. If you still have 2, and you have to take 4 of these, one of them goes into your waste pan up here, and it costs you 3 points at the end of the game. If something were to happen, and say I was able to get, and I'm not going to have all the colors, I collect way too many of these aqua blues because they are gorgeous and I like them. So maybe I had to pick this one up because there was something else I really needed and I'd already filled up my row of aqua blues, then this again goes over here because I cannot use it. Or maybe I've already filled up all my colors and I pick up another color that I don't have room for because I can only have one color per row. Or I'm sorry, one color per column. I can't use this white piece. It goes up here and costs me 3 points at the end of the game. So it's a fine balance of managing which pieces you're going after, watching the river to get the pieces you need, but yet you also have to watch what everybody else is doing because the game end is triggered as soon as somebody has collected 17 pieces of glass.
Yeah. And your board is interesting because the lower points are
Yes.
where you're starting at, and then over here are the higher points.
Yes.
So this is the side you want your rares at, and these are the ones
you want your commons
because you can climb the common tower column a lot faster.
But yet it's a dual-edged sword because you score points based on how many rows you've filled up. So if you have all your rares down here, you may never get some of this filled up, and therefore you may not get these points. You'll get more here. It's an interesting balance. I really love how pretty this game is. It plays very quickly. Oops. Yeah, I think it's a great game. And this one does sit in our collection. It will stay here. The trickiest part of this game, honestly, is getting it all back in the box.
Yeah, this one always, every time we bring this out or talk about this reminds me of my childhood.
Why is that?
The reason being...
Here, pull the box over here.
Is because where I grew up was near a creek. Yes, I call it a creek. My dad called it the crick.
The crick. You are so bad. Hold on. Get these out of here.
Before I was born, farther down the creek from where we lived, there was a glass factory that blew up.
Oh.
And we used to always go down through the creek right there and pick up different disformed bottles and just big chunks of glass.
I think you've told me this before.
And,
I did not remember
we would
that.
decorate things with it. I mean, some of the parents, I guess, around the neighborhood would want us to go get glass so they could put it in their gardens and different stuff. It was just really cool, I thought.
Interesting.
And every time I think about this game, that's what I think about is the glass factory blowing up by my house and we always going down there and picking the glass out of the creek. Now, the creek didn't normally have water in it. It had to be...
Yeah.
It was more of a ravine, but it was a very, very deep ravine. I mean, It was like... If you had to go up from the bottom to the top, it was like 30 feet almost.
I do not remember it being that deep.
Down by where the glass
factory
okay.
Is. I was going to say...
The farther west you go...
Out by your house, it is not that deep.
Well, it's about 20 feet.
It is not. We used to live on the same creek. It is not that deep.
You never went back to that creek.
Apparently I didn't.
No, it's deep.
Yeah, our backyard was pretty long, so I never did really go back there. It was nothing but woods. All right, anyway, now that you've had a little bit of story time, that is River Valley Glassworks. It is going to stick around. I really do like this one. It is. It's such a pretty and serene game. So yeah, gonna stick around. All right. Next
we have another Mayfair game. This is Rise of Empires.
I thought you were going to throw
this is, it's an area control game, basically.
Yeah. Yes, there is a touch of area control in it.
Endeavor, areas on the board open up during certain times of the game.
This one, it's just triggered by the age of the game, the age that you're in, whereas like Endeavor is people have to open them up.
Yeah.
Your actions.
Lanes have to be open.
Okay, so here's your board, and the eras are identified. The areas that are available to you are identified by the color, basically. You start off with these the white colors, all the blue is water, and then in the second era, the brown, the beige comes up, and then finally this dark greenish brown.
The beige, the darker beige, and the really dark beige.
Yes. All right, so... Like you said, this is an area control, and the points are all depicted on here based on the area. If you control the area, you get certain resources during the income phase. What makes this game different and just a hair tricky? There are 5 different actions you take throughout the game, and they're all down here. There are, and I'm not going to remember what any of these are now, but each of these depict different things. You're going to pull out the book, aren't you?
It's been a minute since we played this, so... Yeah. I'll get one of the players.
Okay, there you go. So like one of them is to put cubes out on the board, and one of them is to do an exchange. There's a different board that has an exchange market in it. And then you can build a technology, or maybe that's the research technology, build a building, and then I don't remember what the world was. But what makes this tricky is that every age has 2 sections. During the first part of the age, you are putting one of your discs out, and everybody has so many discs. You're putting one of your discs out. Here, let me do this. Here we go. I'll do this so I can hold it up a little easier. You're putting one of your discs out and taking that action. Okay. And then everybody is doing this, and how many times that action can be done in an era is identified by the number of players in the game. So in a 2-player game, each action can only be taken 4 times. In a 3-player game, 6 times. The tricky part here is, though, so you take your actions, you're doing everything on the way in the first part of the era.
Yeah.
Then comes the second part of the era. And now you're working backwards. You're taking your discs off the board and doing those same actions. But if your disc is not the furthest one over
to the left,
then you have to pay a coin for every disc you have to jump over to get to yours. Mm-hmm. So if you've got 3 other discs on the side of yours, but you still want to take this action now without waiting for everybody else to go, it's going to cost you $3. And money is not hard to come by, but it's not super easy either. Mm-hmm. But that alone is the one piece that's really different here, is your action selection. You have to be really thoughtful about how you're putting them down and in what order you're doing things, because chances are you're doing reverse order on the way back.
Right.
So yeah, this part here is what makes the game different and interesting to me. But yeah, there are technologies that you're looking at, and there are buildings that you're building that give you, or not buildings, but there are regions.
You do progress tiles. You have territory tiles, you have city tiles, and then you have empire tiles.
Yes.
And then you can trade.
But anyway, that makes this very interesting.
There's the other board.
Yep. Here, put that down underneath. There we go. Okay, that's that. Like I said, it's an interesting one.
Yeah. I liked it. I mean,
I had forgotten how much I enjoyed
it. Then we start playing it. It is one area control game that we don't mind playing.
No. Even at 2-player, it's not bad, because there is so much else out there. Besides, yes, area control is important because that's victory points, and that is resources you need in the game.
Round, yeah.
But even if you lose the area control, you're still getting points. Mm-hmm. You're just getting a lesser amount. You just don't get the resources. So, but this one got moved over to the travel collection quite a while ago.
This is a Martin Wallace one, too. Mm-hmm.
It's an older Martin Wallace for sure.
Yes, it is.
But this one got moved over to the travel collection a while ago because it just never came off our shelf. But we do both enjoy this one still, just because it is very different. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is Rise of Empires. It is going to stay in the travel collection because I think it's an interesting Martin Wallace game. Yeah. All right.
Next we have Rise of Tribes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, don't. Oh my goodness me.
Oh, I will. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, that didn't surprise me. Yeah. Well, this is one of those games we probably should have kept the punch boards underneath.
Punch boards underneath, yes.
But that was tight. Before we knew it. Before we knew that trick. Okay. So with this one, the board is made up with a series of tiles that depict different types of resources, different types of land. Here's your main board. So this is played with dice, essentially. There, at the start of the game, there is a set of dice on each one of these 4 actions. And you start off with each set of dice. There is a blank, there is a sun, and there is a moon. You are essentially trying to make sets of the moons and the suns because that gives you different things during your action. If you can, if you can make sets. Don't mind me. Okay. At the start of the game, everybody has their basic their home camp, basically, off of this giant set of hexagon tiles. Hex is 6, not 5. Never mind. Backwards to another game.
Home plate.
Anyway, oh my gosh. On your turn, you are taking the 2 extra dice that are left. You are rolling them, and you are trying to, you have to do 2 different actions. You can grow your clan, in which case you can add people, so many people, depending on what matches you make, of your people to a tile you already control. You can move, which is taking some of your people and moving them to other spots on the board, as the word move would imply. You can gather resources off of the tiles that you occupy, or you can lead. Lead is to play cards. There are cards in here that can give you different things.
Tiles?
Those are, is it the tiles? I thought there was actually a second deck of cards. There are, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So you can lead, which would be basically getting cards. And the cards, most of the cards are going to be endgame scoring or goals that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, because each group had their own cards.
Yeah. Each player had their own set. So those are basically your 4 actions. You're doing 2 of them. You're rolling your dice, and you are slotting your die in to one of these sets, hoping to make decent pairs. Now, if you get no sets at all, you do the basic action. If I ended up with 3 different icons here, then I still grow my group by 3, my clan by 3. If I ended up with 2 moons, I only get 2, but if I get 2 suns, I get 4. So you don't lose an action, even if you can't make a set. It's just maybe a lesser action than you could get if you can, or a stronger action in the case of 2 moons. So you're sliding them in here. The die that's getting kicked off is coming down to here because that is the die the next player rolls on their turn. But you're doing that to 2 of these sets, and you're moving around the board, and you're collecting resources, and you're using your resources to get some of this stuff taken care of, the events taken care of. And okay, we've played this
2 players,
2 player and
now
4
4
player.
players.
Yes.
I did like it a lot better.
I liked it a whole lot better at 4 player, for
not
sure.
A great 2-player game.
I think it could be, but I think the area control throws us off. I think that's what it amounts to, is we don't care for area control, and this is a lot of area control. And at a 2-player, that is a lot harder to swallow, if that makes sense. My biggest complaint for this game is for the cost. These tiles are extremely thin.
Yes, they are.
And this isn't even the worst of it, because the the resources. See if I can show you.
Like construction paper.
These are your resources. They are teeny tiny, and they are thin. I mean, we're talking super thin, little bitty resources that are hard to pick up, even with nimble fingers. I wasn't going to say what, anyway. We have replaced our resources with some, I couldn't get the right color, although now I have bluefish from, never mind. But anyway, from Isle of Cats that I've ended up replacing. But anyway, so we have replaced all of our resources because I couldn't stand using those chips. Yeah. I did like it better at 4. I would be willing to explore it some more if we can play it 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, there's an advanced version of it in there.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. This sits in the travel collection. We did move it to the travel collection some time ago because we did not care for it at 2-player. It is going to stay there. Yeah, I don't know how popular it is. I feel like it made a huge splash at Gen Con when it first came out.
It had an expansion for it.
And then nothing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it since. So, but that is Rise of Tribes. We're going to hold on to it, see how it does. Maybe get some more plays in it if we can get more than, get it at a higher player count. But yeah, there's Rise of Tribes. All right.
Okay, next we have Robin Hood and the Merry Men. What?
Nothing. Okay, this one,
This one, the last time we played it
Full
co-op
co-op,
version, which
yes. There is there's a semi-co-op mode and there's a full co-op and solo mode. Really, it needs to just be. I mean, it was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
But it wasn't that great because you don't play with the entire game.
No, you don't. All right, so here's your board. It is nothing if not a gorgeous board. I will give it that.
It's the Miko art.
It is a beautiful board. It is very busy and there's a lot happening on here. So, the idea with this game is that you have your Robin Hood, and you have a number of merry men that you can send out to do various actions throughout the phase. So you have your player board that is right here.
Well, this one you're not really. I think Robin Hood is actually for a solo play.
Oh, that's true. Okay, fine. So you have your main character.
Some of the merry men.
That's a good point because it's not Robin Hood. You have Little John and you have Will Scarlet and you have, where'd the other two go? Here we go. Jane Fortune, Maid Marian, and then you have then you have Robin Hood.
Yeah, but that's
Robin Hood is supposed to be for solo.
Yeah.
Which I
But
find
you have
odd.
like the Friar Tuck expansion and different little modules that can come in with this too.
All right, so the idea with this is you are taking your main character and some of the merry men, some of your workers, who are sitting down here in your encampment, and you are doing things with them. You start off with 3 merry men available to you every round. You are sending those men out into the fields based on card play. So you have a series of cards that let you do specific things, and you can choose which cards you want to use. There's 2 ways to play them. If you go here, it's passive. You go to the center, you get 1 resource.
Right.
If you go here, and it shows the little bitty icons here of the tents that are around each of the main gathering areas, this is considered active. You get 2 of the resource, or you get what's on the card, which typically is 2 of whatever is available in that area.
Yeah, and the cards on this side have points on them at the end of the round.
Right,
at the end of the game, they're worth points. You can only have 6 of them.
You can only have 6, but
you can transfer them from here over to
here. Instead of taking a card out of your hand, you can move something from here to here later in the game, which is kind of cool. So if you know you want to save this card, but you need to go get that action now, but I'm going to save that card and use it for something else later.
Yes.
This is a great place to hold on to it. Okay, so you do this with your 3 guys, with your 3 workers. Then you get your main character, your Maid Marian or your Will Scarlet or whoever you're playing. Little John. And now that character gets to do 2 actions. He doesn't go on card play. He goes wherever he wants because he's got a few more. Yeah, wherever you see the little Robin Hood hat here. He goes wherever the hat is. He could go and reinforce, or no, he goes to help fight. So he goes to help rob the carts, or he can go up to here to put extra blockades on these paths to keep the carts from getting into town. Or he could buy more dice, buy more weapons in order to go fight different areas. He can go into any of these areas and fight the guardsmen because there are guardsmen in all of these huts or in some of these huts. And if your character, if you chose to do the action on the card, you choose a hut to go to. If a guard ends up in that hut, you're taken captive and sent to the stockades.
At the end of the round.
At the end of the round, unless somebody can rescue you.
Your hero can rescue you.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, again, a lot of moving parts. Because as the wagons are either making it into town or are robbed, they're going over here on this, basically this timer.
Yeah. Because each round you roll the dice to see what wagon.
Yes, because every round the wagon moves, and if the wagon gets into town or if the wagon's robbed, there's a stack of money here. The game ends. See, this is one of those weirds. It's semi-cooperative. Everybody has to make sure that none of these stacks run out of money. Because if a stack runs out of money, the game's over. Nobody wins.
So you want to try and keep building these blockades.
Right.
Because the wagon has to stop at a blockade, and there's no blockade there. It goes straight in there.
Straight in. Over here, if you roll and you have to put sheriff's men into the tents and there's no room because the tents are full, they go over here. As soon as the city fills up with 6 of them, game's over. Everybody loses. So there's a lot of ways to lose. There's a lot of ways to win this too, though. You just have to go so many rounds. You make it so many rounds without losing, essentially, and whoever has the most points wins the game. There's a lot more to it than that. There is archery fighting. There is fighting there's a ton going on.
Stealing at the castle.
Yeah.
And
so there's rescuing your
rescuing
people.
prisoners.
There's a lot happening.
Going to the
Overall,
Crusades.
yes, that's a big part that we always neglect, unfortunately.
I don't.
I always do.
It was there in the co-op, the full co-op. It's there, but it really didn't really make much sense to do.
No.
And in the co-op, you don't keep score.
You just have to survive 4
points
rounds.
Or your prestige, because your prestige gives you extra points at the end of the game as well.
Yes, because you get
points
prestige.
in the co-op game, but a semi-co-op game, it's all about the points.
Yeah. But maintaining the areas that will lose the game for everybody at the same time. Because nobody wins if that happens.
Right.
It's a decent game. Like I said, there's a lot going on. It's not one of my favorites.
No.
Mostly because there is so much you have to track.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening.
To be honest, I bought the game because I loved the artwork.
Yes, the
I was
artwork
like,
is
Let's see
beautiful.
what this game does, because I really like that artwork.
Yeah, the artwork is beautiful. I will give it that. Now, like I said, I could take it or leave it. It does sit in our collection for now. We've not really talked about whether it's going to stay there for now. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I like it.
So that is Robin Hood and the Merry Men, and it's going to stick around. All right, next.
Next, we have a Queen game. It is Risky Adventures with a box on lid upside down.
You happy now? Okay. This is an interesting one. I feel like it was almost, I don't want to say a kid's game, all 8 and up. So, okay.
It felt kind of like a kid's game.
It really did to me too. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But, okay, so your board, this makes no sense to me. Your board is a puzzle piece. Okay. So this is the main board. I got to turn it around, actually. Well, no, that's right.
Yeah, you're good.
That's right. Okay, so here's your main board. There are 3 area maps here. You're only ever going to use 2 in a game. The idea with this one, you've got all these different tiles that are up here that you are trying to get essentially, because
the resources above.
Yep, because there are different things that each of these will do once you have possession of them. So on your turn, there's also, wait a minute, there's also these guys. These guys have cards on them, again, that are not cards, well, they're little tiles, that again, you need resources in order to claim, but do different things for you once you've claimed them. Each round, you play in basically, I want to say 2 rounds, two sets of islands, essentially. You have a group of workers. Each player has, I think, 3 workers, and you can put your workers anywhere you want on any of these spots.
Yep.
They can go here. So everybody has to start here when you start the island.
Well, they start
You
here.
can, well, here, yes, I'm sorry, you start here, because you actually use a different token.
Yep.
So, and the token tracks how far you got
Yes.
on the island, but your worker goes wherever, and this is what you get if you decide to do that, and you can achieve the goal. You're rolling so many dice each turn, and you're making sets. So the dice,
Basically, you're rolling the dice. Those are your resources for that turn.
yes, you get 4 dice. That's it. So you roll 4 dice, and the 4 dice have 3 different symbols on them. You've got your map and compass, you have your shovel, and you have your canned food. That's it. So everybody's rolling dice, and you are deciding what you're doing with them. Now, some of these tiles will give you permanent abilities. Like this guy, if you are here, will give you either a compass and map or a canned food toward whatever is on this tile.
on
Now,
that
in this
tile.
case, it would do me no good because this tile has 2 shovels on it. But if there was a compass needed, it would give me a free compass. Kind of like this one. If I'm on this tile, this would be perfect because this will give me a free shovel toward this tile if I want it. So, and it gives me a sarcophagus that I can use for scoring later on. So I roll my dice, I place them out the best I can to achieve what I was trying to do with where I place my workers. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What's needed is up here. So if I had placed my worker, if I can get the board up, if I had placed my worker here and I needed 2 cans, well, I rolled 2 cans, so perfect. I would get this piece. I would get this tile. If I had placed it here, well, I don't have any compasses rolled, so any maps rolled, so I would not achieve this goal. But maybe at the same time, maybe I'd already gotten to this point. I'd already rolled this and accomplished this, so I was trying to get up to here, and I rolled a can, so I'm good. Because I have a 3rd can. I can't use the cans in more than one place. So I would have to have a 3rd one to do this. So the whole game is literally matching the dice you roll with the accomplishments you're trying to achieve to gain the tokens and to gain the tiles you need to score points at the end of the game. That's it. There are ones that give you points right off the bat, so there is a score track around the board. When one person gets to the end, you've got scoring here that you keep track of throughout the game. When one person gets to the end of the island, that completes the first round. And then you basically randomly grab a different island and you start the next round. And everybody starts on this island now and progresses. It was an okay game. It was very light. Yeah. It was not complicated by any stretch, that's for sure. This does sit in the travel collection, and we're going to leave it there. I feel like it is an interesting game if you like the Queen games. It's a Queen game worth checking out at least once, I think. But yeah, I liked it. I like the artwork. I love the dice chucking. I'm definitely I like dice chucking games, I should say. Anyway, that is Risky Adventures or Risky Adventurer, I'm sorry, by Anthony Rubo. Okay, anyway, it's going to stick around. All right.
Next we have Robinson and Crusoe. Crusoe.
So
Robinson and Crusoe.
I was going to say, that's a new one.
Robinson Crusoe.
Okay. This is a cooperative.
Very hard cooperative.
This is a very hard cooperative. We did not win this last game we played of it. We have won this before, though. We have won it.
A couple times.
We've won it a couple times. I don't think we've ever won this at 2-player. We've won it at 4. But I don't think we've ever won it at 2. So, I don't know.
I think the first time we played it, we were so mad at it.
I was kind of mad at it this last time, too. But anyway, the rule book, I kid you not, is a book. Okay, so this is another one of those hexagon games. The whole map is, well, actually, you have a board. You do have a board that gives you a place to put everything. But your island is made up of hexagons. So here's your board. Upside down. I was going to say, it's, yeah. So here is your board. Your hexagon tiles go over here to create your island map, depending on the scenario you're doing. There are cards down here that you have to draw, depending on the actions you're taking and the dice rolls you do, and not very many of them are good. Up here, you're keeping track of your shelter and your defenses and your palisades and your weapons, and over here is where you're keeping track of all the different things you're building.
Up there's all the bad cards.
This is yes.
Yes. Cards.
And then this is where you keep your supplies, what's available to you and what's coming in the next day. There is a lot to this game, and I cannot even begin to explain it. The idea is everybody has 2 workers, and you are basically Well, and you have the ability of getting more workers as a party, but not for yourself. So everybody has 2 workers regardless during the game. There are different workers that you can gain through different achievements, through card play, or there is, what is it, Friday, and then there's the dog, or is the dog named Friday? I don't remember. The dog.
Friday.
This is Friday, and then you have the dog that in lower player counts you can use as additional workers.
Yep.
You place your workers out. If you go by yourself, you have to roll a die to see if you even succeed. If you take somebody else with you, though, and hence why it's nice to have some of these generic workers, because you can take somebody with you, and now you've sent 2 people to do that task, and you automatically succeed. But you've wasted
your workers are specific.
They're
to
specific
the area,
to certain things.
actions.
Yes.
Because you have brown ones, you have gray ones, you have green ones, and you have red ones.
And a red one, yeah. So they are very specific in their talents. They can build, they can hunt, they can whatever.
Discover.
But I feel like, to be upfront, this is not one of my favorites. I'm not a huge, don't get me wrong, I love cooperative games. Cooperative is where we cut our teeth in the board gaming hobby, and I really like that conversation that happens in cooperative games.
Yeah.
This is one of those that I find very tough, even with the conversation. Here, these got to go in yet. Even with the conversation. Oh.
Yep.
Actually, these go underneath this. We're going to hold on to it.
Yeah.
We are. Because we've got friends, this is one of their favorite games. And I enjoy playing it with them, for sure. I enjoy playing this at 4-player because of the conversations that come out of it. But I do not like it at 2. I really don't.
I like it. It is a very frustrating game, but
Yes.
I do still like it, no matter what player count it is. So.
Okay. I don't like it at 2. So, but I do enjoy it at 4. We've never played at 3, so I don't know. But
well, I think the thing is, normally if you have less players in a game, normally there's something they give you. But in this one, it's not.
You don't.
I mean, you could have 4 players, you have 3 players, you have 2 players. It's all it's
the
same thing.
The only difference is that with 4 players, you have to have enough food for 4 players.
Right.
That's the only allowance you get for having 2 players is you need less food.
To go out and
but you have 4 players to go out and do
go
more
get the food.
things.
Yeah. Right.
So you can have your more specialized people. So
but this one, it doesn't really scale to
I don't
the
feel like
player
it does.
count.
I don't feel like it
So
does.
it could be really hard and mean at 2, and it can also be really hard and mean at 4.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of different scenarios, and
There
we don't
are
like
a lot.
what's her name?
Jenny.
We don't like Jenny. She's lazy.
We have done that one a few times. We have won it, but we've done it a few times now because it's one of the easier scenarios.
Well, the one we normally do is the one with the campfires that we're
yes,
lighting.
that's the
Is that
beginning
Jenny?
one. No, that's
No.
not Jenny. Jenny is the one who was stranded on the island. You have to get out there and rescue her.
And then she just lays around and expects you to feed her
Yes. Yes.
and does nothing.
Anyway, Robinson Crusoe, we are going to hold on to it. This does sit in our collection. It is a good game. It is a hard game. I have nothing against hard cooperatives, but...
And this is not the new version. That we have.
Well, no,
This is
definitely
second
not.
edition.
This is, I
believe.
guess, I don't know. But, no, this is, well, it's got a ton of awards.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But yeah, they just
Anyway.
had it kickstarted to learn.
Yes, they did, and it looked beautiful, but I'm good with this copy. Anyway, it's going to stick around. All right.
Last but not least,
Last
we
but
have
not
the newer
least.
one from this year. This is River of Gold.
Yikes. Okay.
As everything rushes to the
It
bottom.
sure did.
It's
Oh,
a good
not
thing
too
you
bad.
have it all.
I have everything in bins.
Did you upgrade the pieces in this?
I did upgrade these 3 pieces, yes, because they were cardboard.
Okay.
And I found them on Etsy and I upgraded them because I wanted to. If you can't buy new games, upgrade the ones you got. Which is where we were at last year. Here is your board, and this board is very large, so I want to open it to show you this gorgeous river, but at the same time, I don't want to rip it. Okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to lay the bottom of the board down. Here we go. This is your board. It is beautiful. This gold embossed river going up the center of it. All right, so the way this one plays, everybody, you start with a certain amount of resources. Everybody plays a different clan, essentially.
You have 2 ships.
You have 2 ships on the board. Can you open that for me? Thank you. Oh my, okay. So you start off with your 2 little ships on the board, and where they go is determined at the start of the game. But each round you are rolling a die, and you are doing one of a couple different things. You can move the number of spaces on the die, and you pick either one of your ships and you move them that many spaces. Or you can build a building in that location. So for instance, this one is the mountain locations up at the top of the board. And if you can see these icons up here, there are the 4 mountain locations, 5 mountain locations. So I can build a building in one of these 5 spaces if I choose to. What it costs to do so is right here on the board. So this one costs 6 coins. This one costs 12. The reason is because as you're building these buildings, they are giving you benefits. So for instance, say this is one of the buildings that's down here that I can build, and I decide to build it right here. Then from here on out, I get, when I build it, I get 5 points here. You're basically going up this track here. Here's the key though. So that's if when I build it, you get the center item. As ships are moving down the river, if a ship lands where they are touching this port, so for instance, with this one, it's touching here, it's touching here, and it's touching here. And in some of these, well, no, all of them touches, well, yeah, like this one here touches in 3 locations. This port does. Right. This port touches in 3 locations also. Now that I look at it, I was looking at it weird. So these ones that are more expensive, they may be harder to get on the board or to build in those areas, but you're going to get more benefit out of them because it touches in 3 locations. The reason that's important is because every time somebody touches here, I get a victory point. They get 3 coins, I get a victory point if I built this. And once I've built it, I put one of my tokens right here showing it's mine. You're doing that throughout the board. See, some of the cheaper areas I could build right here, but now it's only activating on 1 area instead of 3. That's the difference in the price. So you're rolling your dice, you're moving down the river, or you're building and claiming buildings. And by building, you're moving up these tracks. And these tracks give you things, but they're also majority at the end of the game. As you fall off the bottom of the river, certain things happen. You just move your boat back up to the top of the river. Meanwhile, there are cards, and the cards do different things as well. They give you different powers once you're able to activate them. So there, again, it's one of those games with a lot going on.
Yes.
But once you get going on it, it all just makes so much sense. I don't feel like any of it is super complicated. We've played this a few times now, and I really enjoy this one. But you are collecting resources throughout the game. You're getting resources as you pass over them on these tracks. You're getting resources off of the buildings that you're stopping next to. And you are using those resources to activate some of the cards and to do different things there. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful game. Very... I don't know. It's very serene to me. This one's always been one of those that's just very peaceful to me. And that is a little box fart to end the video with. All right, that is
Upside Down.
I thought for sure I had that one right. Okay. Anyway, that is River of Gold, Legend of the 5 Rings down here. What? It's on right. Jeez.
Really spun at 1
Nope.
turn.
So, what does that say? A game of rivals and riches set on the legendary river of
Rokugan.
Rokugan. I was going to say, I couldn't read that word upside down. All right, yep, there we go. River of Gold. Beautiful new game. We got to play this one shortly after we got back from the retreat.
Yes.
We tried to play it at the retreat, 3 or 4 times? It was
Yes.
never on the shelves. Every time we went to grab it, it was off the shelf. So we finally got a chance to play it afterwards at one of the local events.
Yep.
But yeah, good game. That is it. That is it for this episode. Lots more coming. We're only about halfway through the R's, I think. Yeah, and then we have a backup video coming still. So yeah, lots more
And
coming.
other videos.
And other
Lots more
videos, yes,
surprises.
lots of other stuff.
But
All right.
until then, we'll see you at the next one.